Hey YouTube, this is Evan Magician 34, and I've got another Deck Doctor segment for you. This one is actually from benlfrance. I'm pretty sure that's how it is. Here's the original deck. I'm not gonna call everything out. You can pretty much figure out what all this stuff is. At least I would hope you can figure it out. I'm not going to take the time to announce all this stuff because I've already fixed the deck and I've got it all together, all fixed. So, this is kind of a macro-y kind of deck. This is on a budget too, but that's perfectly fine because this is essentially a macro deck, so I tuned it up and made it a lot more focused. And macro is tremendously effective against a lot of the meta decks right now. It's just about wearing them down. So let's get right to it. Oh, and it's also pertinent to mention that he did have an extra deck, which I didn't bother to list, which was 2 Stardust Dragons and 2 Junk Warriors. So, alright, first things first, I trimmed it from 44 cards to 40 cards, and not only that, I've also kind of, well, let you see for yourself. Didn't have too much money, but anyway, first things first, 3 copies of Survivor. Survivor is the heart and soul of macro. Awesome card. Can't be underestimated. That said, I really liked your triple assailants. They're very solid. They kill virtually all synchros, and synchros are so important right now, but they also take care of annoying things like Blackwings. So, nothing not to like about that. I also upped your warrior ladies from 1 to 2, because that optional removal is very good against roadblocks like the occasional Marsh or Spirit Reaper or stuff like that. And just the option is one nice extra there. Kept your Exiled Force. It's an excellent card, especially because we've now added Rhoda, so you can search for it, and because you're going to be macroing, you can not only destroy it, but actually get it off the field. But there are a lot of occasions where this is actually pretty useful, so good addition. You've lost your Junk Synchrons, by the way, and Junk Warrior is no longer in the deck, but that's alright. We've got another neat little Warrior tuner instead, Shoot Fighter, who has a lot of applications because of his ability to change people to defense mode, and then he syncs on top of it. For all kinds of interesting things, and there are actually, contrary to popular belief, plenty of very good synchros that are pretty inexpensive. So yeah, and this deck's actually got plenty of ways to bring him back for multiple uses. So, anyway. Still keeping your 1 copy of Gale. He's great for just killing things straight up. Just summon, have it, and kill it. He takes care of all but the biggest things. I also liked your 1 copy of Gren, especially in this deck because it's centered on Necro face. This guy's always going to be pretty huge. I mean, he'll pretty much always be a 2000 at least. He's not a great early card, so I'm only keeping the 1. But he's definitely good, and you can always set him. Tremendously effective late game. I also like your copy of Morphing Jar. He usually hurts them more than you with the remove effect. And drawing 5, definitely good for a deck that can occasionally run out of gas. I am going to ask you a little bit of money into the deck here, for a card that's actually not hard to get at all, but it's worth the investment, not just for this deck, but just for all time. Take your 1 Caius and add 3. If you don't already have the 2nd and 3rd, get them. Caius is pretty much the best Monarch. He works against virtually every opponent. One of the best single card removals you can get, especially for the price. So, definitely worth 3, especially when you're recurring all your survivors as tribute fodder. So, well worth the investment. Here are your 2 Necro faces. It's going to come out as a really big monster to beat stuff and or get removed to, well, just macro or fissure or whatever. And cycle stuff out and then mills 5 again. I mean, just so useful. And of course it can pump the Gren and stuff like that, so nice. Kept your Marsh, because in this deck sometimes you're going to need to buy a little bit of time. So the Marsh is definitely a good option. He also feeds Caius. And because, of course, now handily it's a common, it's very easy to get, Cyber Valley. And this card's just so great. Necroface cycling it back is so much better. It buys you time. You can remove those survivors to draw you cards, all kinds of cool stuff. It has synergy with brain control. Tremendous card for you. Enough said. 21 monsters now, by the way. I kept your MST. It's actually a pretty useful card. Play it really intelligently. Don't just randomly pop this. Save it for stuff like Oppression, or when you absolutely are going to try to swing for game and you need to clear a path for Caius or something like that. Don't pop it willy-nilly, because magic and trap destruction is pretty sparse in macro. So, because obviously Storm is a real risky bet. Okay, Then you got Brain Control, plenty of applications there, definite keeper. Rhoda, because essentially it's your 4th copy of Survivor, but in this deck you can also go get all kinds of cool stuff like the Jute Fighter that you can sync with him, all kinds of good stuff. Swords, once again, buying time. I liked your Smashing, it's a good keeper, great way to kill big stuff just straight up. And your monsters like to win combat a lot, and they're mid-size, which means they kill pretty much everything when you shrink. It's a great battle trick too, because you can do it during the damage steps, so very few things can interfere once you shrink. And most people assume that they can just come through and step on your monsters, which they can't. That's a great way to sort of kill 2 monsters, essentially, with stuff like Assailant and DD Warrior Lady and whatnot. I selected 1 copy of DDR, great way to get somebody back that's been removed, and plenty of stuff will be removed. The cost is a little steep in a deck like Macro, but the one of is certainly nice. Also, took your fissures up to 3. This is one of your best removers just because you can play it straight from your hand right away and reap all the benefits. So you can play this and then summon Survivor and not have to worry about your opponent possibly doing something in the meantime like Torrential. On to the traps. Double Bottomless, definitely great, hoses so many decks. It's just a great removal card. Whether it removes them from the field or not, it just kills them, which is important. Torrential also, a very good pick. Down with that. Macro at 3, definitely. You're maximizing your removal effects. So, definitely Macrocosmos. And the only other place I'm really going to ask you to add a whole lot of money to the deck, which isn't very much because this card's very easy to get, it's all over the place, you can trade for it in less than $10 each, is Starlight Road. If you haven't got them now, that's a good thing to ask for a gift, if you've got any occasions coming up or anything like that, and you can surely trade a couple of foils to pick these up somewhere. Starlight Road. Your deck's got a lot invested in the spell Trap Zone, and also mass sweeps like Black Rose are very scary for you. This card's going to keep that from happening, and you've already got the Stardust Dragons, so definitely Starlight Road. That's your 40 card deck right there. And just your extra deck, I'm just going to touch on some options. Obviously you got 2 Stardusts. A 3rd would not be a bad idea at all, because you already got the Starlight Roads, and then you can definitely sync for it too, because that's Kai's plus Jute Fighter. Colossal is another really good option. He's very inexpensive. Again, certain opponents like Lightsworn and often Blackwings, this guy's a very good choice for all the obvious reasons. And Black Rose Dragon, obviously this is the Ghost, but it has a tin promo version, which is very inexpensive. It's all over the place. They made a bunch of them. Walmarts have tons of them. If your local area Walmart doesn't have it, you can definitely trade one from a friend for cheap, or online. It's like your Left Transfer, regular rare, good 7-star beat stick. Your Gale's going to be getting to that. Urbellum, another good one that's very cheap. Guy Knight, very cheap, kills Stardust. Excellent 6-star target. You can get this guy for like $3. And Flamvell Orquizas, this guy's everywhere. All the people were busting Hidden Arsenal, trying to get Bryanak, blah, blah, blah. There's plenty of this guy to go around, also easy to get. And of course, the more expensive stuff like Goyo and Bryanak and Catastor, all very good to get, but all the other stuff in between worthwhile too. Alright, so that's your deck. That's my fix. And until next time, everybody else, if you have a deck you'd like to see get put through Deck Doctor, just send me a PM with the deck list, and I'll see what I can do. And until next time, rate, comment, subscribe, and enjoy.